Good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Jefferson County Board of Education on Monday, October 28th. And do we have anybody to help us with the pledge this evening?
We have Washington High School here. Mrs. Marcus, if you will introduce your guest this evening.
Yes, we are so fortunate to have Ethan Brady with us. He is the son of Carolyn and Zachary Brady, and he is a senior at Washington High School. He's a member of our leadership class and has demonstrated his strong leadership by serving as the camp commandant at band camp this past summer. He takes 3 AP classes and enrolled in physics as well. He's also enrolled in our class to become a peer counselor. He's a good school citizen who contributes positively to our school climate each and every day.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And they also just did a project in their leadership class collecting Halloween costumes for some of our elementary schools. Is that correct?
Yes. We collected quite a few costumes.
Thank you.
You may remember Mr. Brady from the news. He was on TV.
I
They needed B-roll, so we spent about 5 minutes picking up costumes and going like this in front of the camera because he did the panel. Andy gave up his day off Wednesday to come and do the peer recovery coach class for about 7 or 8 hours on a day that he could have been sleeping in. So, fine young man.
Mr. Fogel, can I interrupt for
You
just
may.
one moment?
Absolutely.
And I would like to introduce Mrs. Wendy Lochner. She's our newest board member, and we're very excited to have her here. I really think she's going to be able to add a lot to our mix up here. She has a lot of school experience, and I think it's going to be a good fit.
Oh.
So I would just like to welcome you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been nice. I've had a lot of people from the community calling me, texting me, Facebooking me, saying a lot of different things. I guess I became pretty popular pretty quickly when this was announced. A lot of old friends all of a sudden are showing up. But it's wonderful to be back in Jefferson County Schools. I've had a career in education, and it's always wonderful to be able to come back to where I taught and take all the things that I've experienced over the years and give back to this community. So thank you. I'm quite honored. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would also like to thank all of the other applicants that applied. We actually did have a fairly deep pool to pick from, so thank you to all of them as well. Mr. Fogel, it's all yours now.
Great, thank you. There is an adorable baby back here, so if any thunder gets taken, I thought we should take a look real quick. Because we are here to recognize our One Jefferson Award recipients today. And I'm going to start off with Barbara Zing. You come forward. I'll have Ms. Marcus come up and talk a little about Barbara.
Ms. Zing is always willing to learn something new. She's always willing to go to workshops, and not only does she go to the workshops, but she brings it back to the classroom. She not only shares it with the kids to help them advance, but shares it with her colleagues as well. Recently on a work day, she did give a big presentation. It was funny. It was about 50 minutes long, which was appealing to many, but it was meaningful, and teachers took away something very good that they could each share in their classrooms with their kids, and that's the kind of educator she is, and we're just very lucky to have her.
Between Dr. Lochner and Ms. Skinner. Yeah, a little pizzazz.
That's right.
All right. Let me get one little flash just in case. All right, thank you very much. It's wonderful to be able to recognize our teachers. And for our One Jefferson Award for our service person, I'll invite Jennifer Moss up to recognize Susie Nicodemus.
So
So in a short time of getting to work directly with Ms. Nicodemus for about 11 weeks, I've certainly seen her make our kids smile. She certainly does a great job in and outside of the classroom, building great relationships with our students. I received an email upon taking this job at the end of the year, and I just wanted to say first thanks to Ms. Thomas for sending me this information. And here's a little bit about Ms. Nicodemus in the classroom. She was a classroom aide in my morning classes, and wow. It's amazing to work with a classroom aide who was committed to engaging with the students, the content, and me. Susie is patient, kind, helpful, thoughtful, and dependable. Our partnership was the best ever, in part because we got to know each other and work together on a consistent basis. As a teacher, it was great to have the same aide throughout the morning. Like me, Susie learned and adapted to the material and the students. I found it very helpful to discuss instructional strategy with her and get feedback. Students found Susie to be approachable, and she was able to reteach material that I had presented to individuals and small group. Together, we were able to manage, or at least try, some challenging students and students with challenges. So thank you for helping me transition into Wildwood and for being part of the team there and for doing a great job with our kids. You're welcome.
See, she's already picking it up.
And I think that precious little baby is along here with her, correct? Yeah.
That little baby's my grandson. Very proud.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Now let's try it with camera on. 2, 3. There we go. One more, and then I'm gonna get a flash. All right, there we go. 4th time to the charm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And our next recognition is for a man behind the headlines. He's gotten a lot of attention for our schools and has shunned as much of it as he possibly can, but he couldn't escape Deborah Corbett, who is going to recognize him whether he likes it or not.
Good evening. I'm going to have my teacher who founded Mr. Rogers, who we called To Ranson, His Way to Ranson, and for the past couple of years, Ms. Miller, to talk a little bit about we felt that he needed to be nominated our Volunteer of the Year. He still does, or the month. He still doesn't know why he's here. We just told him to come. He had to get here. Ms. Miller?
Yes. Well, Monica Addison helped me write all this information. And it
Monica,
was so
you see
simple
that?
for
Come
us
on
to come up with reasons to share why he should be recognized. 2 years ago or thereabouts, he linked together the Ranson Community Gardens to Ranson Elementary School. And then since then, he could just have, he has so much to offer to our school. He's helped bridge with the bridge, the connection there, and they have helped with some landscaping projects at the back of our school. Like I said, the gardens, and he continues to help with the gardens. But now we have this amazing outdoor classroom in which our kids, like, I'm not even looking at what I wrote because I'm so enthusiastic about this, and I owe that to Mr. Roger because I kind of had hit a slump. And then all of a sudden, his excitement with this outdoor classroom just got me fired up again, with learning. And it's not taking the kids outside to learn. It's just taking them outside for the experience. Whether or not because I had dropped the bomb and didn't contact a pumpkin patch in time to take our kids to the pumpkin patch, we didn't have to pay the buses to take us to the pumpkin patch. We just brought pumpkins in, and they had a day of learning in our outdoor classroom, and they absolutely loved it. Then we are doing the 5 senses right now in kindergarten. Take them out there, and they're experiencing their 5 senses, and they're just tuning in, and they're so excited. The labyrinth is being created today, hopefully finished up in the next few days. There's a music wall. There's a place for them to build with rocks. There are logs for them to sit on. He's connected the city of Ranson with us, bringing in rocks for alternative seating. There's a butterfly garden in which monarch butterflies visit there all the time, and a hummingbird feeder, and an archway. And anything that we have gone to him and asked for, he has bent over backwards and found a way to bring it to our kids. So I can honestly say that Roger Ethier, he has just not only done this for our school and our staff, but he brought enthusiasm back into my excitement with our kids. So, he said, why am I here? And so he's like, I can tell, he's like,
I
oh,
know he
here I
wants
am.
to
But
talk.
you know what? This is why he's here, because he has brought so much to our school, to our community, and we're just forever grateful for what he has done with all of his helpers and the organizations that he's involved with. So Roger, you more than deserve this recognition.
Okay.
So thank you. Yes, you may.
Yes, go ahead.
Keep it brief, but yes.
Well, those are great words, and I appreciate them. Thank you very much, very kind. But in fact, I feel very privileged to be able to help the kids and the teachers. I see those kids running in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and as soon as they see that school, their moms let go of their hands, they run to their classes. It's incredible. Kids are learning all the time, and with these outdoor classrooms, and we've built many of them in Africa in different places, but they're learning all the time, and the outdoor classrooms give them another platform where they can learn and find pathways into education and possibly even into different areas in their lives that will help them. And that's really why we're doing it. But in fact, I feel I'm the winner because I feel very privileged to be able to do this. Thank you.
Go up to the board, I'm gonna
What do
get
you
your.
want to go up there for?
Take your picture.
See,
Right
there's
in the back.
the head of the Engineers Without Borders group, you know, the ones they put in the classroom, and he's looking for more schools, is that right? Is that what you
Yes.
said, Roger?
Yes.
So if anyone knows no
I'd like to
electric-
see every school in Jefferson County have a outdoor classroom.
All right. 2, 3. One with a flash. Great, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry for the ambush.
Madam Superintendent, do you have any comments this evening?
Very transparent.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting held October 14th, 2019, and the special board meeting held October 21st, 2019?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
So I abstain.
Okay. Opposed? All right, thank you. All right, citizens' comments? None this evening? All right, consent agenda. Are there any changes to the consent agenda this evening?
Yes, ma'am. We are removing, number 10 and number 11. And, I would like to, take a
Not 10.
Oh, 11 and 12? 11 and 12, my bad, I'm sorry. 11 and 12, thank you, Ms. Harner. I think we should change seats. I think that often, actually. With frightening regularity. Thank you, ma'am. 11 and 12.
I don't think anybody's ready to jump into your seat.
I don't think anybody's ready to jump into Ms. Harner's. Let's be real.
Okay, so we're removing 11 and 12. Any other changes?
Not a change, but a recognition. I am overjoyed that we have an appointment on the board agenda for our new Deputy Superintendent of Operations. And especially someone as vastly experienced as Ms. White with degrees from Marshall and WVU. I don't know, maybe to prevent a feud in your family. I don't know. I'm sure it does. who actually spent her 13-year teaching career here in Jefferson, has been a principal, has been a director, has a tremendous amount of experience in all of the operations field. So I'm very, very excited to request the appointment of Ms. White. So, congratulations.
I'm just glad she hasn't run away.
That was always a possibility. It still is.
Is there a motion to approve the amended consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. All right, no unfinished business. Number 12A, new business. Request to go out for bid for asphalt at Washington High School's athletic entrance.
Well, I'll start by saying I'm proud to report that Jefferson High School track, the striping was completed this weekend, and they've moved on. No? You say it then. You give the report.
The track crew will be showing up to Washington tomorrow.
But Jefferson was completed.
No, when they complete the track at Washington, it'll have to cure for 8 days before they can stripe it.
Okay.
So they'll come stripe Jefferson, and as soon as they complete Jefferson, they'll go to Washington and put the stripes on Washington. But that crew will be arriving at Washington tomorrow with trailers and whatnot, and then you'll see some material be brought in on Wednesday.
Thank you, Brandon. So we're nearing completion of that project, which is very exciting to be able to provide that for the safety of the students to upgrade both tracks and the Washington High School field. This evening, along the same line of safety for students, we're asking to go out to bid for some asphalt at the entrance of the Washington High School athletic field that needs to be repaired. So I'm asking if you will allow us to go out to bid for the asphalt at Washington High School.
Thank you. Is there a motion to go out to bid for asphalt at Washington High School's athletic entrance?
So moved.
Second? Any questions or discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 12B, action on approval of McCormick grant recommendations.
When I sent
you, ma'am.
it to the board, we hadn't had the meeting yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the spring, we started out with $161,109.97, and we dispersed $107,000 and some change, and we had $53,974.47 left over. And so we opened the grant process back up in September, and they were to be turned in by October 15th. And we had a request for $58,845.18. So there was a difference of $4,870.71. Of the grants that contained items we had not funded before and were questionable, correspondence with Carolyn Fisher at BCT was made. She held a conference call with the trustees and determined that the sensory room items in Mrs. Steen's grant did not meet the educational criteria. We met on October 22nd, and this is what we are recommending for approval to the board. The Real Care Baby Simulators, another set of 5. I put that grant in. Ms. Slatkoff, who's a science teacher, needed to upgrade some microscopes and calorimeters. All of these are funded in full. Mr. Lynch, guitars for the guitar class, tuners, method books, winger rack. Lynch, again, instruments for the band. Kelvington is our vocal music teacher, and she wanted some choir attire because everything was just falling apart. And we recommended to fund that grant all in full. Dorfner, $1,300 for KitchenAid mixers. Something happened there. That $3,000 underneath Dorfner is also Kelvington. Sorry, I'm a terrible proofreader. And she wanted AP theory materials, choir folder. She put in a grant, I think, for $5,000 for this. Although we did check, and they did say at the Bank of Charlestown that folder cabinets and all those things would cover, the committee was kind of split. So we are recommending to approve $2,050 of that $3,000 grant, $1,500 for the choral folder cabinet, and $500 for concert tire organization. And the reason those two were picked was because last year, I believe, McCormick purchased music, and we figured it needed some place to be housed where it was safe, and because that's a lot of money. And the concert attire, if it is approved, then we would want it to be organized in a same fashion. Kelvington also put in $5,000 for competition registration fees, travel fees, including buses and hotels, choreography and costuming fees. We called her in because we weren't sure about costuming fees, and the one for E, the $6,000 is for the whole program for performances. And this one, G, it was for competitions. We kind of have an unspoken agreement, I guess. We take it case by case, but not paying competition fees and travel fees, buses, because it has to go before the board, and we don't want to tie up the money if it's never approved. And so we took that out as a recommendation, and are recommending the choreography for $2,500 and the $1,847.58 for costuming. So recommending to fund $4,347.58 out of that $5,000 for that. The rest of it's just how we called her in. Again, the sensory room items, the Bank of Charlestown's trustees did not think that met the criteria, and Mrs. Dillow put in for iPads, which we probably would have recommended, but when I asked her to provide how many, what kind, she never got back to me, so we couldn't move forth. So we're recommending to grant $52,572.76 based on the front, and we have $1,400 and some change left over. We also decided that future guidelines would include that a detailed accounting of what items were being requested and the cost would be in the grants. They're coming in just very general, and we think they need to be more specific, so that'll meet the Bank of Charlestown's trustees' requirements, or criteria. Any questions?
I have a quick question, Suzanne. When you're talking about Kelvington's things, and when the committee decides what to approve and what not to approve, do they call whoever the person is, whether it was you or her, Lynch, or whatever, if they weren't going to fund it in full, would the committee actually say, well, we're going to fund this many things? Would they give that person a chance to be able to go back and say, I know that you want to, do this, but I can tell you these are taken care of. I really need those theory materials, and I really need those sound system connections in order to fix my things. They're more necessary than the other things, or they don't get a chance to.
We called her into our meeting.
Yeah, I knew you had said you had. I didn't know how far
And
that
asked her, because we were confused about a few things, and she was satisfied with what we went through. And it's not actually in the materials, it was to house materials for the AP stuff. She wasn't asking for the AP materials for music theory. She wanted places to house them. So the committee decided to house the music and the costumes or the apparel. And we talked to her about, because we had, X number of money left over, and we said, okay, how much is choreography going to be in costuming? Because that's what she said she needed the most. And so that's what she told us, those amounts.
Okay. So as a standard practice, if you guys aren't really sure about things, do you typically just pick them, or do you have to ask for further clarification from?
Sometimes we ask for further clarification. Sometimes some of our committee members will go out and seek clarification if they're unsure of something.
Okay.
When I put the grants out, I tell them to come see me if they have any questions, especially the new folks. and Miss Slatkoff did. She came and explained what she needed and what, if it would go, and, I mean, it's science material, so.
Yeah. Now, the other question I had then is about Miss Steen's grant. What, I guess I would say, I mean, obviously with education today, special education, I mean, sensory room items are, having sensory integration issues is a massive part of, it's a massive limitation for many students to learn. And I mean, I didn't see anything about this, I have no idea what the thoughts are, but I can see where some of these things, I know even my own child has used over the years in order to be educated at one thing or another, one thing that's been helpful for him. Before weighted blankets, it was a bear hug weighted vest, and he wore one for years. So what would be, is it because these were all gonna be in one room, or is it
I don't know. I
because,
sent her an email. I have it here. And I copied a part of the grant in, I said with, let me make sure I've got the right, because I sent her several. Yeah, I said with mindfulness and conflict the part I copied to them out of the grant. When mindfulness and conflict resolution is coupled with a strong coordinator, administration support, and student opportunity, a school can increase the likelihood of student success. A mindfulness sensory room would be a place where any student could go to rebalance themselves. Then the goal would be that the student would be able to refocus back to their academic courses and be ready to learn. The goal of this room, as well as peer mediation, would be to create a culture that encourages students to take part ownership and responsibility for their own social, emotional education, to have the ability to work cooperatively with their peers. And I put they wanted $3,500, and it would be used to purchase LED lights, weighted blankets, couches, exercise balls, and other sensory items as needed, and updated peer mediation training guides for staff and students. And her response was, after she told me they were going to have, she would put in a conference call for the trustees. She said the co-trustees got together and reviewed the information that you emailed. We feel that the first requests, $5,000 for vocal music show choir and the $3,000 for AP music theory materials, and the band requests are appropriate items for the grants. We do not feel that the sensory room meets the requirements for educational purposes. Now, whether they don't understand the connection and correlation, I don't know. The last time in the spring, I contacted them and even asked if they wanted one of their trustees to sit in on our meetings, and they said not at this time, so I don't know what else to do.
Well, thank you very much for all the time and
Yes,
effort that you
definitely.
spend on this.
You're kind of in the middle, so thanks for the information.
Is there a motion to approve the McCormick grant recommendations as presented? Second?
Second.
All right. Any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. All right. Possible executive session,
Yes, ma'am, for personnel and legal.
and there will be action.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?